Welcome to another deep dive. And guys, this one is a real head scratcher. A classic murder mystery set in a grand manor house.
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
It is. So, picture this. We've got a wealthy businessman, Arthur Cadwell, found dead. And it's not just any death, it's murder.
A classic whodunit. I love those. So what makes this case so special?
Well, aside from the whole grand manor house setting, Arthur was known for his, let's just say, interesting business dealings. Not exactly the most beloved guy in town.
So we've got some potential motives brewing already.
Yeah.
Anyone stand out as an obvious suspect?
Oh, we've got a whole cast of characters, each with their own secrets and connections to Arthur. But before we get to them, there's one more thing that makes this case extra juicy.
Okay, I'm all ears. What is it?
Arthur had just acquired a priceless manuscript, something that could rewrite history, according to the author. And guess what? It's vanished.
Whoa, hold on. A missing manuscript with potentially world-altering secrets. Now that's a twist. So is this a case of murder and a high-stakes treasure hunt?
You got it. It's like someone took the plot of a classic whodunit and cranked it up to 11. So, let's meet our suspects, shall we?
Hit me with it. Who are the usual suspects in this grand manor?
First up, we have Grace Cadwell, the grieving widow. Seems heartbroken, right?
Naturally. But is she really, or is there something more to her grief?
Exactly. Then we have Jackson Tate, a business rival who openly feuded with Arthur. Bad blood there for sure.
Ah, the classic. They were rivals in business and in life. Trope. Okay, who else is in the mix?
We also have Evelyn Miller, Arthur's devoted assistant. But the author hints that their relationship might have been a little more than professional, if you know what I mean.
Ooh, juicy. So Evelyn was close to Arthur, knew his secrets, and potentially had a lot to gain. She's definitely on the suspect list.
And let's not forget about Henry, the quiet, observant valet, always lurking in the background, seeing everything but saying very little.
The quiet ones are always the most suspicious, right?
Yeah.
So how does the investigation unfold? Who's our detective on the case?
We follow Detective Lina Marshall as she navigates the shadowy halls of Harbridge Manor, piecing together the clues. And let me tell you, the author does an amazing job of setting the scene. Dimly lit libraries, antique lamps casting long shadows, and this lingering scent of almond.
Ooh, I love when authors use sensory details like that. It really draws you into the story. Almond. Huh. I bet that comes back into play later. So, what kind of clues does Detective Marshall uncover?
Well, right from the start, we get some interesting snippets of dialogue that reveal a lot about the characters. For example, Grace Cadwell, the widow, makes this chilling comment about Arthur loving the shadows.
Ooh, that's creepy. Almost like she's suggesting he was comfortable with secrets, with darkness.
Right. It makes you question whether their relationship was as picture perfect as it seemed.
Grief can make people say strange things, but sometimes it's a mask for something darker, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And then there's Jackson Tate, the business rival. He makes this snide remark about Arthur's taste in wine. Could just be bitterness, but it hints at something deeper, maybe jealousy.
Ah, yes. The classic. He had everything I ever wanted motive. It's a tale as old as time.
It's like everyone in this house is playing a part, but we don't know who's wearing the villain's mask. What about Evelyn, the assistant? Did she give anything away?
Oh, she's adamant that the missing manuscript was Arthur's life's work, his legacy. It's almost like she feels a sense of ownership over it, wouldn't you say?
Definitely makes you wonder if she had more than just a professional interest in the manuscript, right?
Exactly. And then there's Henry, the valet. He drops this little bombshell about seeing Grace Cadwell, pretty angry with Arthur right before he died.
Wait, really? So much for the grieving widow act?
It seems everyone in this house has secrets. And with Detective Marshall sensing that something just isn't adding up, the investigation is about to take a fascinating turn.
Okay, so we left off with Detective Marshall sensing that something was fishy at Harbridge Manor. Everyone's a suspect, the manuscript's gone missing, and there's this creepy almond scent hanging in the air. Where do we go from here?
Well, about that almond scent. Remember how we talked about it possibly being a clue?
Oh, yeah, it definitely added to the whole mysterious atmosphere, so it does turn out to be important.
Oh, it does. Big time. The autopsy report, yeah. It reveals that Arthur Cadwell was poisoned.
No way! Poison, really? So it wasn't just some random break-in gone wrong. Someone actually planned this out.
And get this, the poison. It had a distinct almond scent.
Hold on, are you serious? That seemingly insignificant detail, the almond scent, was actually the key to the whole thing. That's insane. So what kind of poison was it? Anything they could easily trace?
Not at all. The author describes it as super rare, almost undetectable. This wasn't something you just pick up at the local pharmacy.
Wow. Okay, so we're talking about a premeditated murder using a very specific, very hard to find poison. This just got a whole lot more complicated and
Yeah.
a lot more sinister.
And the way it was administered, that's even more chilling.
Okay, you've got to tell me, how did they do it?
The poison was hidden in Arthur's cufflinks.
Cufflinks? Are you kidding me?
Nope. It was designed for slow release, meaning he was probably, well, doomed from the moment he put them on.
That's just cold-blooded. So calculated. To poison someone like that, using something they wear every day, it means the killer knew Arthur's routines. They knew he'd wear those cufflinks.
Exactly. It wasn't a crime of opportunity. It was meticulously planned. This detail totally shifts our focus. It's not just about who could have done it, but who had the knowledge, the motive, and the access to pull it off.
It's like they wanted to make sure Arthur would never see it coming, to poison him with something so personal, so seemingly harmless. It's just, I don't know, it's almost poetic in a twisted way.
You know, with this new information, Evelyn, the assistant, she really starts to come under scrutiny. Remember how she kept going on about the manuscript, how important it was?
Yeah, she was really insistent that it was Arthur's legacy, his life's work. But now I'm thinking, what if it meant more to her than just that?
It does make you wonder, right? The author implies that there might have been something more going on between Evelyn and Arthur, a deeper connection, maybe even romantic.
Okay, so maybe she was more than just a devoted assistant. What if she felt like she had a claim to that legacy, like it was partly hers?
Exactly. And if Arthur was going to, let's say, cut her out of the picture, well, that could be a pretty strong motive, right?
Absolutely. Especially if she believed she was protecting something precious, something she felt entitled to. The manuscript, Arthur's legacy, it all starts to make a disturbing kind of sense.
And you know what happens next, right? Detective Marshall confronts Evelyn.
Oh man, this is it, the moment of truth. So, what happens? Does Evelyn crack under pressure?
She does. It's a really intense scene. She confesses to everything. Poisoning, Arthur, the whole thing.
Wow, I'm actually surprised she admitted it. What drove her to do it? I mean, beyond protecting the manuscript, was there something else?
It turns out Arthur was planning to fire her. After years of working together, being so close, he was just going to, let her go.
Oh, wow. So it was a betrayal. She dedicated years of her life to him, to his work, and he was just going to cast her aside like that.
That's how she saw it. It was a huge blow. She felt used, discarded, and in her mind, she was the only one who truly understood the importance of the manuscript, of Arthur's legacy.
It's heartbreaking, in a way, to be so devoted to someone, only to be tossed aside like yesterday's news. I can see how she might have snapped. But to actually go through with poisoning him.
Her final words really stick with you. She talks about securing Arthur's legacy, about making sure the manuscript would be safe, protected.
It's ironic, isn't it? The manuscript, the thing she was trying to protect, the thing that was supposed to be Arthur's triumph, is now forever connected to his death.
Welcome back to our deep dive. We've unraveled quite a story here. Murder, a missing manuscript, hidden motives. It's been a wild ride. But now that we know Evelyn was behind it all, where does that leave us?
You know, even with the confession, there are still so many unanswered questions. What happens to the manuscript? Does it ever turn up? And what about the other suspects? Right. I mean, we spent all this time looking at Grace, Jackson, even Henry. But in the end, it was Evelyn, the quiet assistant, who was pulling the strings all along.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about how well we can ever truly know the people around us. Someone we might dismiss as insignificant, someone working in the background, could be harboring secret desires, dark ambitions.
It's a good reminder to never underestimate anyone, right? But back to the manuscript. What do you think happens to it? It was Arthur's obsession, his supposed key to greatness.
I think the author leaves that open to interpretation, intentionally. It's like the manuscript itself becomes a symbol, representing more than just a lost artifact. It represents Arthur's ambition, his legacy, now forever linked to his murder.
That's such a powerful point. It's like the manuscript takes on a life of its own. What was supposed to be Arthur's ticket to immortality ends up being the very thing that defines his downfall.
It's a cautionary tale, isn't it? A reminder that our pursuits, our desires, can consume us. And sometimes the things we value most can lead to our destruction.
It definitely makes you think about your own priorities, about what truly matters in life. But, you know, the author doesn't explicitly tell us what happens to the manuscript. Maybe it stays hidden, lost forever, or maybe it resurfaces, its secrets eventually revealed. It's like the story itself continues even after the last page is turned.
And that's the beauty of a good mystery, right? It stays with you, keeps you thinking, Long after you've finished reading, you start to question everything, everyone. It makes you realize that the world is full of hidden stories, secret motives, and unexpected twists, just like the case of Arthur Cadwell and the murder at Harbridge Manor.
Well said. And that wraps up our deep dive into this twisted tale of betrayal, ambition, and a missing manuscript. Thanks for joining us, and remember, sometimes the most unassuming characters hold the darkest secrets. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and as always, stay curious.